why releasing tension is important for professional. And here I talk about techniques, and because you also have yoga in your
Yeah.
blending approach, how our body itself play a crucial role. And we can talk about here about very important part of our life is that stress very often becomes the most dangerous, I would say, part that threaten our professional and personal life. And now there are many approaches to deal with stress. We talk about breath, we talk about nutrition, but very often we feel tension within our muscles, and the emotions actually, not many people are aware, emotions actually can make our body tense, certain parts especially. And how that this is important to, on regular basis, to release that tension. If you be so kind to share your experience about how we can release, or what type of regular exercises or yoga postures would you suggest for professional?
Yeah, no, certainly, yeah. Yeah, as I said, this is kind of what we see with many of our clients. So, yeah, the main thing I would like to kind of explain to yourself and the people in your group would be that, yeah, we've two different sides of our nervous system. So one is called the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight, flight, and freeze, and the parasympathetic, which is the rest and digest. And from what you're saying there is that too often from work, or even we find people who go from a work where they're already in this sympathetic dominance, and then they go to like high energy, like training, maybe like running or CrossFit or something high intense, and they're not giving themselves this rest and digest side. So a lot of people are dominant on this side, and through these techniques like breathing and yoga, as I'll get onto in a second, can it's a way of you to bring back more. You can be, I don't like the word control, but you can bring yourself from that stressed out kind of fight, flight, freeze response, like you're talking, you're holding tension in your body, to a more rest and digest system. So like, as you said, if people are, and they're sitting at their desk all day, like they're in that position for maybe 8 hours a day, and you become stiff. You become, your shoulders come over, you might get lower back issues. So my top tip, like, who's just specifically for people you're working with, would be, if you're sitting at a desk all day, set a little timer. Now this is good for concentration as well. So every 25 minutes, just stand up from your desk, stand up, feel all that tension, even amplify it, like feel it all, feel, and then release, really open up your shoulders, your scapula gets very underactive, and like you're just stretching and opening up the shoulder blades. Because if you're like this all day, the body loves balance, so we need to counteract that movement. Okay, and that would be my main tip, would just be to bring in, because I don't want to talk about like big yoga classes or postures. I want something practical people can take away with this breathing exercise, and just simple, like every 25 minutes, just getting up from your desk, feeling that, and opening back up again. And like even from the lower back, just putting your hands on your lower back and just reaching back, just feeling that stretch on the back. Because as I said, you're hunched over. We need to do back bends, and people can be kind of afraid of back bends, but it's so important. The spine needs to move in all these different directions for a healthy spine and healthy mobility. So yeah, that's amazing. We've lost our range of motion because we're either standing or sitting or lying down, and we've lost our ways of moving in these different directions. So that would be my main tip. So
Brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. And you said something again, lots of great stuff. You talk about sympathetic system and parasympathetic. It's so important to be aware of that. There's so many great works on this, and not everybody has time and possibility to search that. That's why it's great to have people that are fascinated by it, focused on it, and can help you really fast. Nice things, rest and digest. Yes, make sure that you are aware, because sometimes when you eat, you watch one more thing, you talk and things. Give yourself this break. Enjoy the food. And that is also important, because I saw people eating at the desk and working, and the body, it's influencing the body. If you do that on a regular basis, it's not good for you. And for me, myself, I love morning routine. And since I was, I don't know, 5 or 6, I remember my grandfather. That was my first memories. And he was raised in 30s, 40s. And all this kind of 30s, 40s type of gymnastics. And I remember every morning he was getting up and taking wake ups, both me and my brother, and we had to do the gymnastic he did, and stretching and everything that you said actually, and so interesting that it's such a long way when people being aware of how moving, exercising is important, and how very little it's spread all over the time, that how we have to discover it all the time, all over again. And thanks to my grandfather, I got this habit, waking up in the morning, no matter happens, whether it's 4 a.m., 5 a.m., doing this 15 minutes at least warm up routine. And that's changed a lot, because that keeps me in shape. And the nice things you said also about practical approach. You have practical approach, and the same in my own practice, have a practical approach, because we want to give them some results. Now I want to say something that had an incredible impact on my health. And that's nice things. We share our ideas. Since 5 or 6 years, I've been really interested how our subconscious mind influence our health. And there are many different works. In with some of my clients, I really recommend the practice of programming yourself for health. So what happened is, our subconscious mind takes everything we feeds, whatever information we give it to it, and it stays there. Whether we remember or not, some things are really stayed there. And if on regular basis we start talking about or focusing on disease, or something negative on your health, or we talk about diet, but we're focused all the time about Coca-Cola. I'm not saying that it's, for some people, might be good. I'm just saying that if on regular basis you do something, or you consume in too much amount or too big amount, it's never healthy for you. So if, and the same with mind, if you concentrate on something very often, which is not good for you, so you program yourself, you visualize all the time bad food, you most likely on a habitual basis, even on subconscious level, be eating that food. So I'm going back deeper, and very often you probably talk to your clients also about how subconscious also impacts the what we eat, how we breathe and consume. Being aware that you can every day impact and program yourself for health. And since that time, I don't remember when I was really sick or having any health problems, as maybe because it was my fault, working 3 nights in a row. That's not ever healthy. But keeping that balance in life, it kept me really well in shape, because every day, every morning, I want to make sure that I'm thinking and impacting and saying to myself that my subconscious mind is healing me. Because many doctors said, from all the research I've done in that field, because health is very important for me, and they mentioned that our body has amazing potential to cure things. amazing. And there are cases showing that even reversing cancer. But the mind and how we influence and how we feed it has a crucial role in it. And that, when it's complemented what you do with nutrition, breathing, exercising, and then when you give them advice, it's also about how they can support that with their mindset. It creates powerful combination that can brings this balance and health. And I wonder, because this is a question a little bit out of our main focus, but what do you think about it? How do you approach subconscious mind to subconscious mind and the health issue?
Yeah, exactly what you said. Like we're continuously surrounded by things that we're picking up information from, but we are not aware of it, and we have blind spots to this, and we have a filter basically in our brain that only can manage x amount of information at a time. Otherwise it'd be information overload. Like you can't be consciously aware, oh, that color of that is green, and that's the sofa. Like you already know this. Like you, in the surroundings that you're in, you can only take in so much information. So otherwise we'd be overloaded with information all the time. So yes, the subconscious mind is just aware of things. It's similar to what we talked about with the breath. We can be conscious or unconscious of the breath, but also a great guy who's doing amazing stuff with this is Bruce Lipton, and he talks about epigenetics, so above genetics. So it's not that we are born with certain genes and this is our fate and but also he made this discovery when he was a scientist, and he had cells in one dish and he had cells in another dish, and the cells he put toxins into, the cells ran away from it and froze from it, like our fight or flight response. And then the cells with the nutrients went towards were going towards the nutrients. So this was the opposite. And this is the same for our environment. If we are in an environment that's full of toxins, and that could be toxic thoughts, toxic people, toxic food, living in a city or factory or surrounded by chemicals, it has an effect on our genetics. So, and similarly, if we start to give ourselves nutritious food, we start to breathe better, we get air in, like we are surrounded by supportive people, and we, you know what I mean? So we feel safe. Our cells react differently to this. So this is a total different mindset when it comes to health. And we're told it gets away from this kind of victim attitude of like, oh, that just happened to me, and that. But we have such power to change our environment, change how we feel on a day-to-day basis. So that's what really inspires me, is that like our genes react to what is in our environment, and it's not just set in stone, as you say. Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And we definitely shared the view on neuroplasticity. We're not destined. We can shape a lot in that area, and not only in relation to health, but also to our skills. We have a huge influence on our life, and as you said, the victim attitude. Very often when I work with my clients, we want to forget about it. I work by the main rule of 3, which I've created based on experience, which is no complaint, no blame, and no judgment. You just go, you remove even complaint or blame from your life, and judging people, your life changes. It's like different life, different world perception. Wow, we could talk for hours, but that
yes, yeah.
One of my favorite questions, which I borrowed from School of Greatness. Feel free to join our LinkedIn group. Hopefully I will see you soon. Thank you.